Hello, I'm Nils, a sociologist of technology. I analyze the role technology plays in shaping our social world. In this video, I want to discuss the link between artificial intelligence and democracy. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is becoming an integral part of our daily lives, embedded in everything from our homes to our workplaces. AI recommends music for us, filters our spam, suggests YouTube videos for us. AI is often also used to determine whether we should receive a loan or whether we are doing something suspicious. But how often do we stop to think about who designs these systems and who they are designed for? AI technologies, much like any other technology, are not neutral. They are shaped by the people who create them, and this means that the perspectives, biases, and values of those people are embedded in the AI systems they develop. The link between technological innovation and politics is not new. It is studied in an interdisciplinary research area called Science and Technology Studies. Let's use the history of the bicycle to illustrate this. If we ask somebody to draw a bicycle, they would draw something like this. Two wheels of equal size with a set of pedals connected to the back wheel by a chain. This is what we would call an ordinary bicycle. 100 years ago, this is what was called the ordinary. One very large wheel, one small wheel. The pedals are connected to the front wheel. We now call this the penny farthing. How did such a strong transformation occur? In a famous paper called The Social Construction of Facts and Artifacts, the authors Pinch and Biker argue that technological development is not a linear affair where a technological object automatically becomes better with each new scientific discovery. Rather, the authors argue that technological development is shaped by a process of negotiation between different groups of people. Our normal bicycle is a compromise between technological advances and the political power of particular groups of people. For instance, the penny farthing was actually much better for bike races. The large wheel allowed bikers to accelerate more efficiently and made for a smoother ride on rough surfaces. However, the tall height of the bike was a problem for women cyclists who wanted to be able to comfortably ride the bike with a dress. Elderly cyclists also rejected the penny farthing, since falls from such heights represented a safety problem. Simply making the front wheel smaller would not have worked. This would cause unpleasant vibrations for the riders and would not allow sports cyclists to accelerate to sufficient speeds. Technological innovations, such as gearing, spring frames, and air tires, helped solve some of these issues. Gearing allowed for higher speeds on smaller wheels, while spring frames and air tires helped with vibrations. So what we think of as a normal bike is actually the result of a compromise between the interests of many different groups of users. The history of the bicycle would look very different if different groups of people could advocate for their own specific interests, or if some groups, such as women cyclists, were systematically excluded, their concerns deemed irrelevant. This can create a world that is hostile to a large range of people. Indeed, once this technological political negotiation reaches some consensus, the resulting bike is just the bike, the normal bike. It becomes difficult to imagine it looking any other way, and all previous variants can be seen as old and inferior. In short, we stop questioning our technologies once the debates are over. To the next generation, they will look objective, almost natural. While the stakes are not too high with bicycles, systems of artificial intelligence are not just a matter of technological progress. They are shaped by those groups of people who are allowed to participate in their development. If we want AI to be fair and inclusive, we need diverse voices in its development. We at the TRR 3118, Constructing Explainability, research ways to make AI more responsive, understandable, and adaptable to different users. In addition to research and development, we organize so-called co-construction workshops, where we invite diverse groups of people to interact with modern systems of artificial intelligence. We create opportunities for these groups to make their voices heard and to develop systems that are responsive to their requirements. One way we try to illustrate the connection between AI and democratic participation is our so-called Perpetual Prototype. We initially just wanted to give our workshop participants a small souvenir, so we designed a 3D printed little robot head. But it turned out to be a pretty neat illustration of what we're trying to do. It started with a little sketch. After a lot of trial and error, this sketch was used to design something that could be printed on a 3D printer. This is where it got more interesting. Upon seeing this early version, one colleague said, "I want to attach it to my keychain." So we designed this little hat for the robot. We showed this prototype to a bunch of people. One of them said, "I want to put it on my pencil." So we added a pencil-shaped hole to the bottom. Then one of our colleagues said, "Hey, I want to stack the robots." So we thought, what if we modify the hat and the hole to fit into each other, like this? They seem to be the best of all worlds. The robot can still be put on a keychain, on a pencil, and can now be stacked. However, once we brought the newest version to one of our workshops, participants quickly realized that if you stack the robots and try to break them, the hat can get stuck in the hole for the pencil, irreversibly damaging both robots. Now one of them can only be used on a keychain, while the other can only be put on a pencil. This highlights a key feature of democratic design: unexpected outcomes and conflicting interests that need to be considered and negotiated, and often only become visible when people actually use the objects. In our case, the unexpected action required us to redesign and strengthen the robot. In some cases, a compromise cannot be reached, and a technological object develops in different directions. In our case, one of the workshop participants suggested that the robot could be used as a webcam privacy cover. Another participant suggested a robot as a tiny keyboard button. We decided to never finish the Perpetual Prototype, hence the name. We are very curious where people's ideas will take us, where a compromise is possible, and where a new design is needed. Any future workshop participants will be invited to take the most recent prototype home and exchange an old prototype to be recycled. Let us now return to the topic of AI. By involving diverse voices in the AI development process, we can create technologies that are more inclusive and responsive to the needs of different user groups. It's not just about building AI for people, but building it with them. The Perpetual Prototype is a living example of this philosophy, constantly evolving through user interaction. Artificial intelligence can be seen as an even more powerful example of this. We can design AI with adaptability in mind, a technological object that is open to be modified and listens to people's unique requirements. Involving diverse voices in the creation of an adaptable AI is not just a nice bonus, but should be seen as a critical feature of AI in a democratic society. AI will happily reproduce biases if we let them. For example, a study found that an AI system used by a major healthcare provider was biased against Black patients, resulting in them receiving less care compared to white patients with the same medical needs. Similarly, an AI trained on a predominantly male dataset, when tasked with evaluating potential candidates, overwhelmingly preferred male candidates. If an AI's workings cannot be investigated and understood, it cannot become part of a democratic dialogue about where and how we want it to be used, and which world we would like to build together. Thank you for watching. To learn more about our work and how you can get involved, visit our website.